In the workplace, navigating the dynamics between colleagues can sometimes feel like tiptoeing through a minefield. While we often associate jealousy and rivalry with high school drama, these feelings can persist well into adulthood, particularly in professional settings and especially where competition and ambition run high. And what's more, they can manifest in unexpected places, even with your boss. Recognizing the signs of jealousy from your boss can be crucial in maintaining your sanity and success at work. In this video, I'm exploring 7 subtle cues that might indicate your boss is harboring envy towards you, along with tips on how to handle such situations with grace. I'm Jo Banks. I've been a professional executive business coach for 15 years, and I'm sharing what I know. So without further ado, let's jump straight into number 1. Excessive criticism coupled with a lack of feedback. Constructive criticism or feedback is a vital part of professional growth. We all need it. It's important to our personal development. After all, we don't learn from the things we do well. We learn from our mistakes and the challenges that we go through. However, when criticism feels more like nitpicking or judgment, or when it feels very personal and without all the constructive feedback side of things, it might be a sign that your boss is envious. Instead of providing guidance to help you improve, they might focus solely on finding faults in your work and your personality. And that's an important distinction to make. Your boss should not focus on your personality unless your behaviours are unacceptable, and that can sometimes happen. Some people are unaware of their impact on others, typically those with low emotional intelligence or those who are neurodivergent, sometimes not always cognizant of how their behaviour affects others. However, we're not talking about that in this video. I have others coming up on neurodivergence in the next couple of months, so watch out for those. If you feel like you're being singled out and that the criticism or judgment that you're receiving from your boss is unwarranted or excessive, that can be a good indicator. As I've said in so many of my videos, bullies build themselves up by putting others down. So what do we do about it? Firstly, keep a record of your achievements and your successes. When criticism arises, approach your boss calmly and ask for specific feedback on how you can improve. This not only shows your commitment to growth, but also subtly reminds them of your value to the team. The one thing that I found in every single case of bullying that I've ever encountered, whether that's personally or professionally, is that nothing will change unless you do something different. Bullies like easy targets, the type of people who don't confront them about their poor behaviour. Therefore, I would always recommend tackling any bad behaviour from a boss as soon as it arises. Now, you might find that it's actually just your misinterpretation of what's happened. But if you don't ask, you don't know. If you're already some way down the road and this has happened frequently, you can still draw a line in the sand and talk to your boss about it. Number 2, micromanagement. Micromanagement is often a sign of mistrust or insecurity. If your boss constantly hovers over your shoulder, scrutinizing every move you make, it could indicate that they feel threatened by your competence or potential for success. This is another extremely common one. Again, in my extensive experience, only those with low self-esteem, imposter syndrome, and low self-worth feel the need to micromanage. So how do we deal with that? Again, proactively communicate with your boss about your progress on tasks. It's all about communication. Offer regular updates and ask for their input to demonstrate that you're on top of your responsibilities. Building trust through transparency can help alleviate their need for constant supervision. I know it's a massive pain to begin with, but giving them regular updates without being asked for them can sometimes help the micromanager feel more at ease and help build that trust with them. By the way, imposter syndrome is common in about 95% of people starting any kind of new job. So just because the person is micromanaging you does not in itself mean that they're envious of you. It's often a subconscious way that people use to feel more comfortable and more in control. When we feel out of control, we tend to revert to the things we know we can do, which are often the tasks of the people below us. It gives us a sense of comfort and familiarity, which is lacking when we've triggered imposter syndrome. Number 3, undermining your authority. Have you ever noticed your boss undermining your authority in front of your colleagues or delegating tasks without consulting with you? This behaviour suggests a lack of respect for your role and your accomplishments, and it can often be driven by jealousy. One thing you've heard me say many times before is that bullies build themselves up by putting other people down. So what do? Again, address instances of undermining calmly, assertively, and quickly. Don't leave it. Privately express your concerns to your boss and emphasize the importance of mutual respect in a professional setting. Establish clear boundaries regarding your responsibilities to prevent future encroachments. It's important not to let these types of things go, but to deal with them quickly and assertively. If you leave it, you're literally giving the bully, if that's what's happening here, permission to keep treating you badly. Number 4, taking credit for your ideas. One of the most blatant signs of jealousy is when your boss steals credit for your ideas or accomplishments. They might present your suggestions as their own in meetings or fail to acknowledge your contribution to successful projects. What to do about it? Document your contributions to projects and initiatives. It's also good to have those for any PDPs, personal development plans, or for any performance reviews at the end of the year. Makes all of that process a lot easier if you've been keeping a log of what you've achieved. If your boss takes credit for your ideas, diplomatically remind them of your involvement and politely assert your ownership of the concept. I know this can be tricky, but again, it's about not letting these things go and nipping them in the bud. Cultivate relationships with other colleagues who can also vouch for your contributions, further validating your work. Number 5, unwarranted hostility. Jealousy can manifest as irrational hostility towards someone perceived as a threat. If your boss displays unwarranted aggression or hostility towards you, it could be a sign of underlying envy. What to do? Remain composed and professional in the face of hostility. Avoid escalating conflicts and instead focus on de-escalating tensions through open communication. If necessary, seek mediation from HR or a trusted colleague or higher up to address the issue impartially. Number 6, sabotaging your opportunities. Unfortunately, this is another fairly common one that I've often seen, especially where there's bullying and narcissism in the workplace. A jealous boss may actively sabotage your chances for advancement or recognition within the company. They might withhold information about potential opportunities, exclude you from important meetings, give unmanageable deadlines, all to set you up for failure. And also, again, that taking credit for your work can often sabotage you for future opportunities. So what to do about it? advocate for yourself and your career goals. Proactively seek out opportunities for growth and development, whether within or outside your current role. Document instances of sabotage and address them with HR if they persist, emphasizing your commitment to professional advancement. Now, I know in a lot of previous videos, I've brought this up a few times. Viewers have often said that it's no use going to HR. HR are not going to do anything about it. I'd put a caveat on that. Some HR professionals and some HR departments are excellent and they will deal with those things, but they do need evidence. So keeping that log, dates, times, events, witnesses is really important if you're going to raise something formally. So big top tip there, but I would always suggest going to HR as a first port of call. Number 7, isolation and alienation. Lastly, if you find yourself isolated or alienated from your team, despite your efforts to collaborate and contribute, it could be a sign that your boss is fostering a toxic work environment out of jealousy. So what do we do about that? Again, it's cultivating those relationships with colleagues outside your immediate team and seek support from mentors or peers or even a coach who can offer guidance and perspective. Focus on maintaining a positive attitude and continue to excel in your work despite the challenges. You might even at this point, especially if you've raised the issue with HR and maybe nothing has been done about it or they're dragging their heels. Dragging their heels is very common because HR or people in general just don't know how to handle these types of situations. And I've talked about it lots in previous videos. I'll leave the links below so you can go back and have a look at those. But if you've tried that, one thing that I would always say, and again, this can have issues with people, but please try and get out of that organization or out of that department sooner rather than later. Unfortunately, these things rarely get better and definitely won't get better if you don't do something about it. So I know in my bullying experience, which I've talked about in previous videos, I wish the one thing I dearly wish I'd done is one, raise it earlier because I didn't raise it at all for various different reasons. One, didn't think anybody would believe me. And the second one was I wish I had left sooner and not let myself get to the state that I was in. So really important to think about that. There are always other jobs available. So definitely something to think about. The wrap up. Addressing boss jealousy requires a combination of self-awareness, assertiveness, and strategic communication. So here's a quick recap on some of the steps you can take to mitigate its impact. Number 1, document those incidents. Keep a record of instances where you feel your boss's behavior is driven by jealousy, including dates, times, witnesses, and specific details. I always, in addition to that, say keep that information elsewhere, not on a work computer and not in a folder in your workplace. Keep it somewhere else, just in case. Always got to be forward thinking and forward planning. Next, seek feedback. Request constructive feedback from your boss to gain insights into areas where you can improve and demonstrate your value to the organization. That might not be possible depending on the situation that you've got, but it's definitely worth thinking about because sometimes we can read things into situations that aren't necessarily there. Next, we have communicate openly. Initiate a candid conversation with your boss to address any concerns or misunderstandings, emphasizing your commitment to collaboration and professional growth. Next, we have build allies. Cultivate relationships with colleagues and mentors and even a coach like myself who can offer support and advocate on your behalf, helping you counteract the negative influence of boss jealousy. Focus on professional development. Invest in continuous learning and skill development to enhance your expertise and credibility, positioning yourself as a valuable asset to the organization. Consider escalation. If attempts to address your boss's jealousy directly prove unsuccessful, consider seeking guidance from HR or more senior leadership to address the issue through more formal channels. Evaluate your options, assess the long-term viability of your current role, and consider alternative career paths, either within the organisation or out, with opportunities that align with your goals and values. That's really important. Recognizing the signs of boss jealousy and taking proactive steps to address it is essential for maintaining a healthy work environment and enhancing your career. One thing I want to add is that going with your gut feeling, your intuition is there for a reason, coupled with the evidence is extremely powerful. Many of the clients I've worked with have been unsure whether their boss is jealous of them or not. And so I've made excuses for their behavior for really quite a long time. Whenever I ask if they think their bully might be jealous of them, they're typically really surprised. They say things like, "Why would anybody be jealous of me? I'm not somebody to be jealous of." That's such a common response. Typically, people are jealous when they see something in others that they don't see in themselves. For example, someone who is popular, kind, professional, excellent at their job, someone who is personable and who gets on with others. It doesn't have to mean, jealousy doesn't have to come from big things like money, fame, or status. Remember, bullies and those who are jealous or envious typically have low self-esteem, low self-confidence, poor behavior controls, and so project their insecurities, and they are hugely insecure. They project that onto others. In my experience, if something doesn't feel right, if somebody's behavior doesn't feel right, it's not. Don't ignore it. Do something about it sooner rather than later. These things never go away on their own. By fostering that open communication, building alliances, and focusing on your own professional growth, and nipping these types of behaviors in the bud, you can navigate workplace dynamics with confidence and resilience, ultimately achieving success despite the challenges posed by someone else's envy and insecurity. What next? If you have any words of wisdom on this topic or any questions you'd like me to answer, please leave them in the comments section below. I absolutely love interacting with you all and really value your feedback. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a thing. Finally, as always, a huge thank you to everybody who stays until the very end. And thank you so much for all of your support. It really does mean the world to me.